As we look ahead to the next 3 weeks, from July 20th to August 6th, the arrival of the mysterious businessman Hudson initially felt like just another standard entry into the chaotic landscape of Port Charles. Most of the town assumes he is simply here to track down a specific individual, perhaps Ethan Lovett or Delilah Wilson, or to finally unearth the long-buried truth about Phoebe's biological father. But something about that moment stayed with me. His demeanor, the quiet confidence in his stride, the way he observes the town like a predator assessing its hunting ground, it all points to a man who is not merely looking for a lost relative. He is hunting for something much larger, something that possesses the sheer gravity to completely upend the current hierarchy of our beloved city. I couldn't stop thinking about it. If you ask me, Hudson is acutely aware of a clandestine organization or a hidden piece of evidence that has the power to shift the entire balance of power in Port Charles. He isn't here for a simple paternity test. He is here to claim a throne or dismantle an empire. And while everyone else is distracted by their daily dramas, I am following the thread of his true intention. This thread inevitably leads me to Valentine Cassadine. We are led to believe that Valentine simply stumbled upon that mysterious black box at Windermere and decided to investigate its contents out of sheer curiosity, perhaps hoping to sell it to the WSB. But we know Valentine. He doesn't act on whims, and he certainly doesn't believe in coincidences. The more I think about it, the more I am convinced that Valentine knew exactly how crucial that black box was the moment he laid eyes on it. He is meticulously attempting to decode its mysteries and crack it open before Jack Brennan or anyone else even realizes what is truly at stake. Valentine is playing a dangerous game of chess while the rest of the town is playing checkers. And speaking of Brennan, it is almost tragic to watch him and Nina Reeves become so completely consumed by their burgeoning, steamy romance. They are strategizing and searching desperately for their missing blackmail material, entirely oblivious to the fact that the very prize they seek has likely already fallen into the hands of a Cassadine. If my suspicions hold true, their romantic distraction will cost them dearly, turning them into prime targets for the ruthless individuals who are also hunting down that black box. But there is a shadow beneath the story that no one is paying attention to, and it resides within the walls of the hospital. Portia Robinson is on the verge of making a decision that will leave everyone completely stunned. Following the difficult birth of her newborn son, she is heavily considering changing her testimony regarding Curtis Ashford's assault charges involving Isaiah Gannon. On the surface, this looks like an act of profound grace, a wife forgiving her husband to ensure he doesn't spend the first 8 months of their son's life locked away in Pentonville. However, the shadow beneath this narrative suggests something entirely different. This is not about forgiveness. Portia is operating from a place of deep, suffocating fear. She is frantically trying to anchor her family and maintain a facade of peace before another, far more devastating secret detonates and drags them all into an inescapable abyss of trouble. I keep coming back to the seemingly innocent father-son vacation that Jason and Danny Morgan recently embarked upon. On paper, it is a beautiful bonding experience for a man who just spent years in WSB captivity and wants to prioritize his child over the mob. But Jason Morgan is a man built on secrets. I keep wondering whether this trip was actually a carefully constructed cover for something much more clandestine. It is highly possible that Jason didn't just take Danny camping. Maybe he used the geographical distance from Port Charles to facilitate a secret rendezvous. What if we're missing something massive here? What if Jason took Danny to meet someone hiding in the shadows, someone the world believes to be dead? Maybe there's another layer here. Could they have met with a presumed dead Nathan, a hidden Dex, or even Sam? While this is purely speculative and I cannot confirm it as absolute fact, the atmospheric tension surrounding Jason's return suggests he knows significantly more than he is letting on. When he returns to Port Charles, he will be operating with knowledge that the rest of the town is completely blind to. This brings me to Anna Devane's triumphant return to the Port Charles Police Department. It doesn't seem accidental that her very first move as the reinstated police chief was to ruthlessly oust Dante Falconeri from the position and immediately offer Harrison Chase a promotion back to detective. Anna is a master spy, and her actions always serve a dual purpose. I can't shake the feeling that Dante's removal is merely step one in a highly classified, off-the-books mission. Dante is too closely tied to the recent WSB chaos and Ross Cullum's cover-ups. Anna needs a clean slate, and she needs Chase, a man desperate to prove his loyalty and clear his own family's name to execute a secret agenda right under the noses of the public. The tension is growing exponentially, not just at the precinct, but within the sterile, echoing corridors of General Hospital. Britt Westbourne and the newly arrived doctor. Tristan Roberts have been clashing since the moment they met, their fiery rivalry sparking tension in every room they enter. However, instead of remaining bitter enemies, the growing tension will force them into an unexpected alliance. I foresee a moment where their constant bickering abruptly halts as they stumble upon a horrifying medical secret, perhaps related to a highly specific patient or a covered-up diagnosis that ties back to the WSB's dirty tricks. They will be forced to collaborate, blending their sharp intellects to uncover a truth that the hospital board would kill to keep buried. And speaking of the hospital board, the psychological warfare between Willow Kane and Drew Kane is reaching a terrifying crescendo. Drew is miraculously recovering, his limbs twitching with returning life, while Elizabeth Baldwin relentlessly applies pressure on Willow to expand his communication tools and put him in intensive rehab. Willow is suffocating under the crushing weight of her own deception. She feels the walls closing in, realizing that she is rapidly running out of time to keep Drew silenced. But I do not believe for a single second that her desperate, potentially deadly plan to eliminate him will go off without a hitch. The universe has a way of intervening, and in this case, the intervention will come in the form of Scout Quartermain. Scout's sudden return to Port Charles as a slightly older, highly observant teenager is not just for a heartwarming family reunion. She is the wild card. I firmly believe Scout will unexpectedly walk right into the middle of Willow's darkest moment, inadvertently witnessing a secret that will cause Willow's entire house of cards to spectacularly collapse. Meanwhile, as these personal tragedies unfold, a massive corporate war is brewing over at Deception. Serena Baldwin has returned, bringing her fierce energy to back up her adopted mother, Lucy Coe. They are preparing to face off against the formidable duo of Brooklyn and Tracy Quartermain. On the surface, it looks like a standard battle for shares and cosmetic supremacy. But I think this power struggle is merely the opening salvo for a much larger seismic shift in the corporate landscape of Port Charles. There are hidden investors, secret alliances, and underlying resentments that are about to boil over, leaving Deception forever changed. Yet, amidst all these colliding forces, it is Carly Spencer who finds herself standing on the most precarious ground. Something feels unfinished regarding her position in this town. She is entirely surrounded by men with conflicting, dangerous agendas. Brick is actively digging for damaging dirt on Valentine at Sonny's behest. Sonny is obsessed with finding leverage to assert his dominance. Brennan is lingering with his own mysterious motives. And Jason has just returned, carrying the heavy burden of unspoken truths from his time away. Carly is being pulled in a dozen different directions. Her loyalties tested at every single turn. She is going to have to make an impossible choice very soon. She will have to decide exactly who she stands with, and that single decision has the power to fracture the fragile alliances that hold this town together. If I am right about the trajectory of these next 3 weeks, we are not just looking at isolated incidents of drama. We are witnessing a grand convergence. Every single hidden motive, every stolen black box, every faked medical record, and every whispered secret in the woods is slowly gravitating toward a singular, explosive point of impact. We are walking down a dark hallway, and with every step, another door cracks open, revealing a piece of a puzzle that is far more terrifying and complex than anyone anticipated. The story is completely unfinished. There are no neat resolutions waiting for us at the end of August. Instead, when the truth is finally dragged kicking and screaming into the light, Port Charles will be thrust into an entirely new, unprecedented era of chaos. The shockwaves will be larger than anything we have prepared for, and all we can do is brace ourselves for the fallout.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.